at that. It worked this time.
It's so cute.
You bring good intro juju.
I bring good juju.
Last 3 lives, it would freeze. If you start in about 2 seconds, the whole thing would freeze. So,
well,
like,
I
wow.
have good juju this week because yesterday I went to Starbucks and they're like, your order's not in our computer, but it's sitting right here. And I was like, what does that mean? They're like, I guess you don't have to pay, so you can go. And I was like, yes.
Did you go get a lottery ticket? That's what I would have gotten. A lottery ticket.
I should have. No.
What?
No. What, Mom? A lottery ticket for me?
Yeah, what, Mom? $1 million? Yes.
Yes. Okay, but you got to share.
Oh, yes, sure.
Yes.
Right.
Okay. Yeah,
yes.
right. Okay.
Yeah, right.
All right. Anyone who's joining us, we only know you're here if you comment. So just a little recap for anybody that's new. We'd love to know that you're here. So just say hello, say where you're calling in from. And if you want to just listen and be a fly on the wall, that's okay too. I have the chat on. Sometimes I forget to turn it on. So I've got the chat on today. So we're going to do some real estate stories, good, bad, and ugly with Amanda. So Amanda, who's Amanda?
Who's Amanda? I guess it depends on the day. No. So like Tanya said, my name's Amanda. I'm a real estate agent here in the Willamette Valley of Oregon. I've been a real estate agent for about 7 years now. Live in the Albany area here, and we have a little hobby farm with too many chickens and cute puppies and 3 kiddos, and both me and my husband are self-employed, and we just try to do the hustle every day. So that's Amanda today.
That's Amanda today. Well, I do know Amanda, and you do more than just try. You're actually doing the hustle.
Oh, well, thanks. I cleaned my house today, so I feel really good and reset.
Good.
So that's, yes.
Nice.
Yes.
All right. So how did you, 7 years ago, you got into real estate? What crazy voice in your head said, yay, I want to be a realtor?
The voice of having my second daughter and looking at 2 daycare bills for 2 kids and doing the math with my current salary for my 9-to-5 property management job.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, that does not add up. Actually, that subtracts a lot. Yeah. And so from there, it just seemed like a natural transition, go from property management to real estate. I could stay at home with my newborn at the time and, take the real estate test. We had recently purchased property in the couple years that we were having babies. And so it was kind of fresh in my mind. We had a realtor at the time that we still chatted with. So I asked her, like, if I got into this, would I be able to go under your wing? And so I thought about it when I was pregnant with Grace, like late stages of pregnancy. And then as soon as we had her and we looked at what childcare would cost for both and what my salary was at the time, we're like, we need to make a change. So that's what got me started into it.
Yeah. And did you think it was going to be a phenomenal mommy schedule?
Yes. I didn't really know what to expect because I was going in on a team. I had no idea what I really had. I mean, just with anything you do, you have no idea, just like having kids, you don't know until you're in it. And so, but when I'm really grateful I was on the team I was on at the time because, it was very apparent I had a newborn baby and, they knew she was coming with me everywhere I was going and all that. So it was very flexible starting out, but I also started out on the bottom of the totem pole in the team. I did all the, little things and not really important things. And everything you do in real estate is important on a team, but the more of the errand stuff. And you have to work your way up.
Sure.
So, everyone says, I want to get into real estate because I can create my own schedule. And then when you actually start working with clients, you're like, that does not exist. So, and then with children, it's a whole new battle. So I did think I was going to have my own schedule, but then I learned very quickly I needed a babysitter / nanny.
Yeah.
out to be more available. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
And does grandmas help? Do the grandmas
Grandmas
help?
do help. So, well, my mom lives in Washington, and my dad lives in LA area, California. But my husband's mom, she moved really close to us when my first daughter was born, and that has been a blessing.
Yeah.
But she does help a lot. So we're very grateful to have that. And then I also have very close friends that do help too. So
Cool.
they know who they are. So they saved
So
me on Christmas. I was having a mental breakdown. I'm like, I can't work and wrap presents and they're out of school. I'm like, we will take them from 4 to 6. And the other's like, I'll take it from 6 to 9. I was like,
thank you. Well,
but yeah,
that is really great. You need to
Yeah.
have that. I have not met your children live, but I have met your children online,
that's
and
true.
they are a handful.
Yes, they can be special. Yes.
They are. Well, they're phenomenal. They are. And they're very active. Okay.
Yeah.
So I do have a question about being a team. And I know, I don't want you to say anything or name names or say anything. I want you to be honest,
Yeah.
right? So what's the good and the bad and the ugly on being a team? Because I think really truthfully with the real estate agents that I've spoken to, I don't think any of them have been on a team. I know that you're currently not on a team, but you started out on a team.
Yeah.
So what was that like? And then why did you leave?
Yeah. So we'll just go in order. The good, I think if you're have never done real estate before and are starting real estate like a newborn baby, being on a team is really great because one, people think they take the real estate exam and they know how to do real estate, which is far from the truth. You don't know how
Right.
to do anything.
Yep.
And that first year on your own, you're kind of just like a deer in headlights. You don't know what to do. So I think the good about being on a team is for people to learn. I learned a lot. So with my first team, I was with them for 5 years and I learned a lot. And like I said, I started from doing the smallest tasks to, being the listing person on our team and running the listing. So the knowledge you can get in the beginning is amazing. I would say the bad would be, every team is different. Every team runs their, people and brokers differently. But in my first team I was on, you had your roles, which is good because you learn everything in the role, but it was definitely either you're a buyer broker or you did the listings. And I tried to do both. And it was the busyness of the team. It was too hard to do that. And I just had my third child. So it was just too much. So I went back to only doing listings. But you just kind of feel like you're in your box.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I felt, like you're in your box and you're only allowed to be in your box.
Right.
There's certain things you're allowed to do and there's certain things you're not allowed to do, which also brings you to the ugly. If you have an idea and the team lead doesn't like it, they're not going to do it. Or,
right.
And I guess the ugly would be, if something went wrong, in my experience, you were the scapegoat, no matter, there was no, I felt like if someone was unhappy or something went wrong, it wasn't like, oh, let's figure out what happened. It was automatically like, well, what did you do? It's like, so I just felt the scapegoat. And then, with teams also, the ugliest part, everyone, everyone says they do this because they're passionate about it. And I love what I do. I love, as you know, marketing and all that, and connecting with people is a passion of mine, and I love doing it. But we all have to make money. We all do it to support our family. Yep. So the ugly of being on a team is you have to share your commissions.
Right.
The split. That's the ugly part.
And there's no way around it. It's not like it's a choice.
Yeah, there's no way around it. And so, and another thing that can be bad about teams, and it's not with every team, but there's competition between brokers depending how you run your team, and there's a lot of jealousy sometimes, and what's the best way to put it? Favoritism.
Mm-hmm.
That's my pet peeve, is when there's plain as day favoritism that drives a lot of people out of
the team. Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
So definitely what's going to make or break a team is going to be the leader, right? And then obviously who the leader chooses to be on their team, and who's a good mix and who's not a good mix.
Yeah.
I also know you well enough to know that you are out of the box. That is your superpower. Your superpower is connecting with people. Your superpower is your creativity and out of the box thinking. I mean, it impresses me all the time. So I can understand how that could be extremely limiting for us non-rule followers.
Well, it's funny. So I was actually thinking about you the other night, because you bring up like, what's your superpower, and like, who is your superhero? And you know how I always said, like, I always idolized Princess Diana growing up.
Yep.
And that's true. And I did. And I realized, I think I wanted to be like Princess Diana, like her grace, and like people, just trusted her. But we were watching a movie the other night, and I was like, oh my God, you know who I am? And I actually asked my husband, told my husband.
I'm afraid to ask. Okay, who?
I'm Erin Brockovich.
Yes.
Yes, that's who I am. He's smiling at me right now and laughing. I'm legit Erin Brockovich.
That is so funny, because I watched that 2 nights ago. I
swear when I want to swear, and I make crude jokes, and I just get shit done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I watched it 2 nights ago. So that's so funny. On Netflix.
Yes. Yes. See, you just knew. There was like a ring in your ear.
Yeah. So having Erin Brockovich being one of your superheroes is totally cool, because at the end of the movie, she gets a check for $2 million.
I mean, I know
I've never gotten a check for that kind of money,
but so yeah, like she easily can talk with people, connect with people, and I feel like I can do that, in a joking manner and a serious manner, and get shit done, but do things a little
out of the box.
Yeah.
Yeah. So do you know what Erin Brockovich's kryptonite is?
Men.
Maybe. I don't know.
No.
But she's reactive. She's reactive.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's definitely, right. I definitely like just to do things. Yeah. I'm reactive too. Yeah.
And I can be too. So it's okay. But we all have kryptonite too. So yeah, I can totally see that. And, we all have superpowers too. So, and she connected well with people, right? They trusted her, where that other lawyer with the suit and the high heels, they wouldn't even open the door, right?
Yeah.
I love the movie. Just love it.
And the scene when she was like, we brought in that water especially for you folks from Hinckley. I was like, I would totally say something like that. My husband's like, I know.
Yes. All right. So now you're off on your own, right?
Yes.
You're not on a team. You're on your own. So
nope, I'm on my own.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how easy was that to leave and go on your own?
Well, so it was very hard. So when I was, like I said, I was on my first team. Hello, Rachel. When I was on my first team for 5 years, and then I felt like what I've done on that team, I've done. I felt like there's no growth. But like I said, on that team, you're put in a box, or in my perspective of it. So I didn't have confidence to be able to go on my own. So I went to another team. Well, it wasn't really a team. Like I was under someone's, I was part of her team, but it was a way smaller team, and I could do both size buyers and listings. And I felt like, even though maybe the commission was a little bit more on one side than it was on my previous team, it'll even out. And during those not even 9 months, it was like 6 months I was on her team. I realized I was right. I joined literally the week interest rates spiked up. March 2022. Worst time to join a new team. Worst time. But I'm grateful for that time because in those 6 months I learned, one, I don't have to rely on a team for the security of leads. I can hustle and do this on my own. And I had a lot of great ideas. And again, like, you have to have things approved and you can only do what the team lead wants to do. And if I left for my first team automatically to on my own, it would have been terrifying and I don't think I could have done it. So I'm glad I had that 6 months of transition, because from there, when I decided I have to have my home be my home base and just do it on my own, it was so natural and easy at that point, because I learned a lot in 6 months. I had to hustle on my own. There was no leads coming in.
Right.
And I had to get my name out there. But so what I learned in my first team was all the technicalities of what to do, how to do real estate. But then in my second team, and I'll always, thank her for this, she gave me the confidence that I knew, and she didn't know she was giving me the confidence, but she was giving me the confidence to know
that you could do this on your own.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of the ugly about being on a team and a team leader is you're kind of training your competition futurely.
You are.
Yeah.
You can be. Yes.
You can be. So
the average team person, and I mean, some people want to stay, they don't want to go out and hustle and hunt, right? However, you are, so the average staying time for a team, for someone to be on a team is about 2 years.
Yeah.
And then some people just choose because they like the security. They don't want to go find their own leads. And then the ones that are like, thank you for the confidence. Thank you for, helping me through all these transactions. And I don't want to share my money anymore.
Right.
And that's normal.
And I think it was coming down, and that was another big part. So I think if it was 2020 or 2021 and the leads were just like naturally flowing in, I think it would have taken me a lot longer. But when you have so few deals and yet you're splitting them and you're making nothing, you kind of have to be like, this isn't working.
Right.
So yeah, it was just, so I think the timing worked beautifully. And, my kids were also going through a hard time starting school again since COVID was gone, and it all made sense.
Yeah. Well, you're doing great.
Well, thanks.
And again, I like watching all the out of the box things. Hey, Rachel, have you ever been on a team? Let us know. I'm curious. I don't know the answer to that. So one of the some of the creative stuff you've done lately is your cycling party.
Yes.
And you've got some stuff coming up for Super Bowl, right?
Or
no,
not Super Bowl. No, I am doing Spring Forward.
Spring Forward. That's it. Yes. So share, what is that?
So just another fun little creative thing. I despise losing an hour of sleep. I enjoy my sleep. And so I was like, let's just make it fun. So I thought, why don't we just embrace Spring Forward Sunday, where we lose an hour and we're going, into the future an hour technically, by all getting together and watching Back to the Future. Yes. And I keep telling people, you get it. You get it. Yep. And they're like, yes, I get it.
We get it.
Okay. Just making sure. But yeah. So yeah, that's cool. Just that'll be my big spring appreciation. So
yeah, very cool. Yeah. So Rachel says, I don't like the traditional team format, at least what I can see. Yeah, some people don't. And a lot of that is, being in the box.
Yep.
Sharing your commission. And it's okay in the beginning. Having a mentor in the beginning is not a bad thing.
No, it's a great thing. I would not know what to do if I was not on my team.
Yeah.
My first team. So I give knowledge to my first team lead and everything. She taught me the good and bad and ugly, and it made me the agent I am today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And getting better.
Yeah. So she gave me a good base. She gave me a good foundation. Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. Okay. So what is the craziest story? I think my craziest story. you know,
Mhm.
I have lots of crazy stories, but my most crazy story is the orgy story. You gotta have yeah, I walked in on one when I was showing homes.
Oh, okay, yes, you did tell me that.
Yep.
You did
I
tell me
mean, that
that.
is the craziest, and nothing has ever beat that one. And I've had very sad stories when I've walked into homes and, diapers everywhere and,
Yeah.
things where you wonder how you're raising children. Do you have any yet? Because you will start
Um,
having a
oh,
collection.
I'm sure I do. Ugh, I mean, yeah, if it, I mean, oh, I'm sure I do in like the 7 years, but like, one, everyone's just, you work with all kinds, right?
Mhm.
So, I mean, oh, I mean, a couple. One, the owner locked themselves out of the house, so they tried to be open the Supra lockbox with an axe and a hatchet,
Awesome.
and it didn't
Did they
work.
buy you a new one?
No. That was when I was on the team. Had it was one of those stories where you kind of like wonder, like, oh, it's sad, like kids live here and they
Mhm.
live like this. And um there was one where I mean, it was very dirty, and we got them to hire a cleaning company, and the cleaning company did a fabulous job, but they were mad because the owners were mad because apparently they scratched their cabinets, but wasn't, it was weird. It's like, so you're
Yep.
mad, you're mad that's, so yeah, that was a big debacle. So that was kind of crazy. Oh no, one was we had a listing, and I opened up a cabinet door. Shit you not, there was a voodoo doll in it hanging. Yes, that was crazy. And it was in the creepiest house. And I was like, nope, nope. It was on this country road. That was one. I mean, yeah, if I think there's plenty many, but those are the first I
Yep.
think.
Yep. Oh, you'll have a lot more. You're young.
You know,
Just you wait.
okay.
Yeah. Yep. Okay, so I saw Rachel say hi to Nancy, but I don't see Nancy, so I'm going through the chat and I don't see Nancy.
I
So
don't see Nancy either.
again, we have a glitch. Always have some kind of glitch. So I'm sure there might be other people that are here that I can't see either.
Well, hello,
So
Nancy.
hey, Nancy. Thank you, Rachel, for shouting her out because we don't see her. Ay, 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 ay. Okay, so I'm going to ask you a really hard question.
Okay.
Um,
Oh my God. I
I
just saw
am.
Rachel's
I'm putting you
comment.
on the spot.
Okay.
Okay, someday, if you choose, you might be a team leader,
Mm-hmm.
right? Not hinting at all. I'm not, because you might not want to do that. If you were someday to say, okay, I want a team, what would you do differently?
Um, I would make a standard.
Mm-hmm.
So no matter when someone did a listing or buyer, all the splits would be equal. I mean, that is hard. I mean,
I heard one thing. I heard you say you don't like favoritism. So
I don't
I'm,
like favoritism.
yeah.
So that's where, making sure everyone is um paid the same, no matter, if they were doing listings, 5 years ago versus, their first one. Like if you do a listing, the commission should be the same. And I would make team decisions with the entire team and not have an individual meeting with only one and make
Mm-hmm.
a decision from that. It would have to be entire team. Um, that is a good question. What would I do different? I would give people their individualities. I really would. everyone has to have the rule, like you just make sure our logo's on it somewhere. But you
Mhm.
know what I mean? If you give people individuality and give them free reign, they feel more comfortable and they'll probably stay with you longer.
Yeah.
I mean,
So,
right?
yeah, and I want everybody to know that I am not leading Amanda to these answers at all. However, this is just perfect timing for a couple reasons because I just had a conversation with a broker who lost somebody
Yeah.
who left and switched, and so we're coaching on retention,
Yeah.
right? And I know you're heavily recruited.
As of late, yes.
Yes, but
Yes.
yes, and so as you become a successful real estate agent, you start getting recruited. It happened to me when I was in full time as a realtor. My son-in-law is a real estate agent, and he will share with me, "Oh my God, I just got a text from whatever Windermere or Coldwell Banker, and they're texting me to have lunch with me." What? And so this is standard. This is a fact of life that
Yeah.
with my broker that I coach, that people once, and it happened like 2 days after they closed on a $1.2 million property, right? And all of a sudden now they're getting texts. So
Mhm.
what advice would you give a broker? Like what would you say? What would keep you from being unfaithful, from veering, from even saying no thank you, I don't want lunch, I'm very happy where I am? What would you need as a realtor? Because I want brokers to hear this.
You mean to like not be tempted? Is that what
Yeah.
you mean? Yeah.
Yes, like not being
Um,
tempted to have an affair.
Not
What would
being
you need?
reactive.
Yeah.
So, and I've had to learn this too, and you've helped teach me this, but time is money and you don't want to make a rash decision. So you want to do all the research and take your time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, everyone shows you their bells and whistles out of the gate.
Yeah, it's kind of like a first date, right?
Yeah. And so everyone shows your bells and whistles, but you really have to examine the value and the cost of that value.
Mm-hmm.
So if the cap is higher, well, what are you getting that you don't have currently? And is it worth, the 10K, 20K extra that you may be paying? Or
Yeah.
if you're debating going on a team, is what they're giving you worth that 50% or 40%, whatever the
Mm-hmm.
split is. So I think trying to take excitement and emotions out of it because it is emotional. They're going to try to woo you, like for instance, this, I had an amazing meeting. They gave all the bells and whistles and I love them. But again, it comes to financials. Like it's just not the right moment
Yeah.
to do
Yeah.
it. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, I think just taking your time, taking a breath, and looking past the first date and seeing if
Yeah.
you can always date someone, but what would the marriage look like?
Right.
'Cause
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah, I love
So,
that.
yeah.
Yeah, and I tell, or recommend to my clients who are considering it, go to a couple of their office meetings, right?
Mhm.
They'll let you come to an office meeting.
Yep.
And what's the feel? What's the, is everyone people showing up? You go to an office meeting and there's nobody there, right?
Yeah.
What's it feel like being there? Is it nice or is there a lot of competition? I mean, there's nothing wrong with healthy competition, but are they, nasty about it kind of
And I
thing?
think you should chat with, if whether you're debating a brokerage or a team, I think you should chat with the other people in the brokerage or the other people in
Yep,
the team,
absolutely. Yep.
because then you'll see if you even like being around those people. When I went on my first team, I was just so excited. Someone was willing to let me go on the team. I didn't know how real estate worked. I didn't know
Yep.
that, people just want you on their team. And I became, a solid person on that team. And like I said, I'm so grateful for those years, but I didn't do any interviewing when I first started.
Yeah.
I just took my first in and went with it. I didn't know people wanted you more than
Needed them.
needed you more than you needed them. And
Yep,
so
I didn't know either when I first started. I thought I was going on a job interview. I was so nervous.
yeah. And like I
Yeah.
thought I was gonna do like all these things with buyers and listings, and like, okay, you're just gonna help stock the listings. And I was like, I'm doing that. So like I went in totally blind, and
Yeah.
take your time, interview, meet the people, make sure you get along with the people. And if the type of people that are in the brokerage or on the team just is not your same vibe, then it's probably not the best marriage for you, because you're going to be
Right.
surrounded by those people.
Almost every day. Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. And
yeah.
I want people to know what they need. So if they need training or they need to be around people, they need to do open houses for, so if you're going to join a brokerage that doesn't have open houses for some reason,
Yeah.
maybe they're new, that might not be a good fit. Really know what you want. Like when you're looking for a significant other, you kind of know what you want, right?
Yeah.
Right. So know what you want and see if it can fit. And I say this very respectfully. If it's not a good fit, there is another place that's a good fit.
Yeah.
Be
And
picky. And I want brokers and team leaders to be picky too.
yeah,
It's right.
because another thing that you learn on a team is when one person leaves, a lot of times other people leave
Yep.
because they
Yep.
become friends with people, and it's
Yep.
like a trifecta. And
Yep.
so it's very hard as a
Speaking-
team lead.
Yeah. Well, speaking of phenomenal brokers, one just joined us. So hey, Karen.
Hello, Karen.
And I say this with 100% or 125,000% that I have had many, many, many brokers in my career, because I've been licensed in Florida and Texas and California twice. And I have two very favorite brokers, and Karen is one of them.
Oh.
Yes. I wish she could be a broker for everybody that I coach. However, I coach people in many states, so that can't happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there is struggles with, like we were talking here, and I don't know how long you've been listening, but we were talking about, because I know Amanda is heavily recruited, that when, in the last couple months or so, even more, she's getting a lot of phone calls with brokers wanting to recruit her. And we've been talking about what makes people stay versus, veering off and exploring other options.
And I think it all comes down to like one, taking your time and really, and my husband's really helped me with this too, is really examining the value. So people are like, well, we provide all these marketing materials. Well, if you love to do your own marketing, do you really need to pay $20,000 extra to do that? I love my own marketing, and I don't need someone to do it for me. Or if you feel like you need more support by your brokerage or your PB or team lead or whatever it is, if there's another brokerage that gives you that, but then you have to sacrifice XYZ of what you're currently doing, is that worth the extra $20K?
That's right.
Okay. So it makes you like, well, maybe it's not worth that much. Maybe I am okay. So just really stepping back, not being reactive, and just saying, you know what, like, I'm good where I'm at currently, or maybe, when I'm hitting 35 transactions a year repeatedly, then consider it. But yeah,
it's tough. And so I'm going to do a plug. Because today was the day I announced I have a new program called Broker Brilliance, and it's going to be a workshop for brokers and team leads on March 22nd. So it's a 2-hour workshop. And I'm really looking forward to it. So that's why I asked you some of those questions, because recruiting,
I figured, I was
training. Yes, I know. That's like you and me watching Erin Brockovich on the same night.
That is so weird.
You and I watched it 2 nights ago.
Well, next time I watch a movie and be like, are you watching this on Netflix? Because if you are, that is crazy.
Yeah. So for anybody that got on a little after the Erin Brockovich story, Erin Brockovich is one of Amanda's superheroes. And I love that, because I think she really is a badass.
She's my alter ego, I think. Yeah. She's my business alter ego. I do business differently. Yeah.
Rachel says I need to see it again. It's on Netflix.
Yes, you do.
So 2 nights ago, I turned on Netflix, and there it is, like one of the options to watch. I'm like, oh, I haven't seen this in years. This will be fun. Obviously, you and I are both plugging into Netflix at the same night.
Yeah, it was funny.
Yeah, it's a good movie. All right. So any last, well, yeah, I was going to ask you another question, but it's going to take us way over time because we are over time. So I'll do it next time you get on. But
Okay.
any last words of advice for any broker, if you want to give a broker advice, or for a new realtor, you get to pick. Which one of advice would you want to throw out there?
Advice for broker or advice to a new broker or new
No,
realtor?
for a new realtor.
Um, I think I'll do the new realtor because even though the market's tough, there's still people coming in because they're like, people are coming out and going out, so I'll come in. But
Yep.
your first year, especially if you do it solo and on a team, is going to suck. Like, do not go in thinking, you're going to be listing 30 homes and all these things. It is a lot of hustle.
It is.
But
It's a lot of work.
it is a lot of work. And people think it's a stereotypical, they open up a door and they get handed a check. It's not house hunters. You know what I mean? It's a lot of hustle. Real estate transaction is just the smallest sliver of the job. It's networking, it's marketing, it is, staying top of mind. So it's like just being prepared for that first year. It is going to be hard. It's going to be really hard and it's going to suck. But if you keep up the work and you do the work and you genuinely connect with people, not, be salesy, it will come.
Yep. Build
So,
it and they will come. It just takes time. Yes.
The field of dreams. Yes. Build it and they will come. Yeah.
Build it and they will come. But obviously, you had to build it, right? It took time to build it and hard work and sweat. And yes, real estate has no glass ceiling. You don't need to go out and get a PhD in real estate to make a lot of money. However, you earn every penny. And I know a lot of people don't think that unless they're actually in the industry. And then they're like, oh, heck yes, we earn this.
Yeah. And there's a lot of expenses to it. And people don't realize that too.
Yep.
And I think for, people new or constant, one thing I have to remind myself is your why. And that's very corny, but why are you doing this? Why are you doing all this hustle? Why are you doing a CMA at 11:30 at night? My why is, as you know, it's my biggest fear in life is becoming a widow. And in the past couple of years, that's been front and center in my husband's world. And I just need to do something that if God forbid something happens to my husband, I can provide for my kids. And I can't do that on a team. And I think brokers who are debating whether going on a team or being solo need to examine that. Like, what gets me to my ultimate goal?
Yeah.
Sharing commission, if it is, great. If not, do the hustle.
Yeah. And you are one of the hardest working realtors I know.
Oh,
you are a really hard, and look at how you're hitting your goals.
Yeah.
It wasn't like daddy gave you his database and you're now just taking over his business.
Yeah. No.
Nope. Nope.
And I mean, no matter how many years it is, I think you go into it like, oh my God, like, are those listings ever going to call me back? Like, are they actually going to sell this spring because they're not returning my calls? But I tell myself, it's okay. It's okay. And I tell myself, WWDD, what would Dawn do? If she's listening, she knows what I'm talking about.
I know.
WWDD, what would Dawn do? What would Dawn do? She'd tell me to chill the fuck out, WWDD, what would Dawn do? So,
yeah.
But she wouldn't use the swear word that I just did, but
Yeah.
That's why.
Well, that's why you have Erin Brockovich as a superpower.
Dawn is
more of the Princess
Dawn
Di.
is my Princess Diana. I am Erin Brockovich.
Pass that one off.
Yes. Oh my goodness.
Okay, I'm gonna say goodbye because we are over. We could keep on going, but
I know we could.
Yeah, we could. But it was fun, and I thank you for your time. Thank everybody for making comments. Rachel, you're one of the most faithful in showing up and making comments. So thank you, Rachel, and everybody else that came. And keep an eye out. If you know of anybody that's moving to the Corvallis, Albany area, you know who we're
I'm
looking
your
at
gal.
right now. So I do want to say for anybody, I don't think there is anybody new, but if there's anybody listening that hasn't commented and you do, want to be connected with Amanda, these recordings will go live. I mean, they'll be on Facebook for a short time and then they live on my YouTube channel. And Amanda, you can snag this and put it on your YouTube channel. So
Okay.
you can find us. You can go into Facebook and make a comment and find Amanda. So she's not hard to find. And next time I'll make sure that you put something after your name, like a phone number or something, but you're not hard to find.
Sounds good.
All right. Thanks everybody. See you later.
Bye.